Well, whether you like him or hate him, support him or not, President Trump is looking at a historically high disapproval rate, the highest for any president in the last 60 years this far into their presidency. A Gallup poll shows 53% of Americans disapprove of him. And I want to compare that to just 28% for Obama and 30% for Bush at this point in their first terms. Most of our Tampa Bay area voted for President Trump, so we want to know how local voters feel right now about what he's done so far. 10 News reporter Bianca Garolo went to one small town affected by the president's decisions.
This map probably looks familiar. This is pretty much how the Tampa Bay area has voted in the past few elections. Mostly Republican with some Democratic blue in the middle. But in 2016, we saw even more red. Rural counties traditionally red voted overwhelmingly for now President Donald Trump. We're talking percentages in the high 60s. We went to Highlands County to check in with voters a few months into Trump's presidency. We found a room where people's views and opinions have not changed much. How many of you voted for our current president, Donald Trump? How many of you still consider yourselves Trump supporters?
These first two questions would set the tone for the rest of the conversation.
How many of you would say it's true he's done an excellent job so far? How many of you would say he's done a terrible job?
That's no guess.
True or false?
And the more questions I asked,
We need the wall to be built. True or false?
the clearer the divide.
Mexico will pay for the wall.
You can feel the tension in the room. The divisiveness is evident.
And we were about to find out why.
News media sources of the likes of CNN, New York Times, Washington Post are fake news.
It all goes back to where we're getting our information.
The President of the United States falsely tweeted.
It's almost like we're living in two different news worlds.
Donald Trump, Commander-in-Chief.
With opposite definitions of what's fake.
Fake news is being used now as a term to excuse anything that you don't agree with.
Well, the fake news is supported and supplied by the Democrats and the Socialists. So there's your fake news.
Fake news is the far-right extremism that has really pushed that even notion out there.
But here are some facts. President Donald Trump is proposing taking money from education, labor, and agriculture to put it into the military and towards building the wall. If that budget is approved, counties like Highlands will feel the effects. Some of the people we spoke to were especially worried about seniors.
This is what we're facing in Highlands County, a decrease in services. So your elderly loved ones, perhaps they will end into nursing homes. And then what? And then what?
I think our federal government's first job, though, is to keep Americans safe. If there is no America, where do you think our senior citizens would be?
Neither side did much to change the other's mind.
I think we all have to recognize that Mr. Trump, President Trump, is all our presidents. He's not just some of us, he's all of us. Yes. All of our presidents.
But in the end, they expressed respect for each other.
All of you look familiar. I'm glad you showed up today, and I hope that we can continue to understand one another better in the future.
And a promise to work together moving forward.
I know there's not a single person in this room that would not reach out to a senior that was in need and that was out in the hallway, because we're an amazing community.
So Jackie, you and I talked about this. It's fascinating to see how deep the divide is when we have different information, when we trust news sources that give us opposite information.
But there's so much mistrust, as I saw in that piece. And Bianca, you have been working on this story for weeks. It's so in-depth, and this was about 3 weeks ago. So I want to know, for those people in the room, have any of their opinions changed?
No, I checked in with at least one Trump voter yesterday who told me he feels exactly the way he felt that day, that nothing has changed.
And I know a lot of you watching at home, you see yourself in that piece. So Bianca, you're about to go on Facebook Live, right?
Yep, if you have thoughts on our story or on anything we discussed, we want to hear them. So
Bianca, thanks so much.